Let's talk about that voice. You know the one. The voice in your head that's absolutely convinced you could have done better, worked harder, been smarter. Today we're diving deep into the psychology behind that voice, what we're going to call your internal judge.
So let me just ask you straight up. Do you ever feel like the toughest, most brutal feedback you ever get comes from yourself? If you're nodding along right now, you are definitely in the right place.
Yeah, that feeling. It's this persistent, nagging sense that no matter what you achieve, there was a better version of it that you just couldn't quite reach. It could be exhausting, right? But what if I told you it's not what you think it is? Okay, first up, your own harshest critic. We're going to spend a moment just exploring this whole idea of having super high standards for yourself and that constant self-evaluation. We have to really understand the what before we can get to the why.
You know, what's really fascinating here is that this intense self-criticism isn't just some random thing. It's actually super common among people who are really intelligent and driven. So if this feels like your life story, well, you're in some pretty capable company.
All right, let's move on and give this voice a name because that helps us get a handle on it. Let's call it your internal judge.
So what exactly is this internal judge? Well, it's not just random negative self-talk. It's way more specific than that. It's a voice of dissatisfaction. And get this, it's actually powered by two of your greatest assets, your intelligence and your self-awareness.
It really kind of boils down to these three things. First, you've got high self-awareness, which gives you this crystal clear, unfiltered view of your own performance. Then there's strong self-monitoring. You're constantly checking in and evaluating how you're doing. And finally, it's all directly wired into your intelligence, your brain's ability to process all that data about yourself.
Okay, this is where we really get to the heart of it. For so long, we've been told that this inner critic is a flaw, right? That it's something broken inside us that we need to fix or silence. But what if that's a complete myth?
So the common belief, the story we tell ourselves, is that being hard on yourself is a personal weakness. But the reality? We're going to reframe that completely. The truth is, that feeling doesn't come from a flaw at all. It comes from something called clarity. This powerful, incredible ability to see how things could be, to perfectly envision the ideal outcome. And that brings us to our final section, the power of clarity. This is all about learning how to reframe that inner critic, not as your enemy, but as a seriously powerful, if sometimes kind of frustrating, strength.
So let's break down how this actually works. It's simple, really. Step 1, your high self-awareness means you see what you actually did with painful accuracy. Step 2, your intelligence lets you see the perfect, ideal version of what you could have done. And step 3, well, that gap between those two things, that's where the dissatisfaction lives. Your internal judge isn't calling you a failure. It's just pointing out the distance between where you are and that ideal you can see so clearly. This right here is the biggest takeaway. That critical voice you hear is not proof of your failure. It is direct evidence of your capacity to envision excellence. It's a feature, not a bug, of a mind that is sharp enough to see potential. Just let this sink in. The dissatisfaction you feel comes from clarity, not from a personal flaw. The feeling is real, sure, but where it comes from, that's a product of your vision, not a defect in your character.
So I'll leave you with this thought. What if you stopped seeing your inner critic as an attacker and started seeing it as a compass? A compass that is relentlessly, stubbornly pointing toward your own highest standards. If that's true, then the only question left is, where are you going to let it guide you?